स्वयं रूपा कथमयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सागनललिता श्रीविशाखां हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिनी नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयतीरे.
Thank you, Guru. Hare Krishna. So, moving further in the sixth chapter called the Purush Sukta confirm how the universal form, the Lord's limbs, are compared with the different manifestations in this material world. We read till sixth. So here, different organs, different limbs are being compared. It was done previously also. His bodily surface is the breeding ground for the active principles of everything and for all kind of auspicious opportunities. His skin is the generating center for the moving air and all kinds of sense of touch, and is the place of performing all kinds of sacrifice. Okay. Sixth also we did. The Lord arms are the productive fields for the great demigods and other leaders of the living entity who protect the general mass. Going forward, the seventh verse. Vikramo bhurbuhasvascha Shemasya sharanasya cha Sarvakama sharanyaschapi Hareshcharana aspada. Thus the forward step of the Lord are the shelter for the upper, lower and heavenly planets, as well for all that we need. His lotus feet serve as the protection from all kind of fear. So now the most sought after limb of the Lord by all the aspiring devotees is his lotus feet. And it provides protection, his shelter, Sharanya. For absolute protection from all sorts of fear, as well as from all our needs of life, we must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Not only in this planet, but also in all the upper, lower, and heavenly planets. This absolute dependence on the lotus feet of the Lord is called pure devotional service. And it is directly indicated, it is directly hinted as within this passage. No one should have any kind of doubt in this matter, nor should one be inclined to seek the help of any other demigods, because all of them are dependent on him only. Everyone except the Lord himself is dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Even the all-pervading super soul is also dependent on the supreme aspect of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada gives an outstanding purport. Everyone, even the Paramatma feature, what to speak of anyone else. And to the extent one is dependent on the lotus feet of the Lord, he is situated in pure devotional service. Apam virasya sargasya Arjanyasya prajapate Pumsa Shishna upastastu Prajati ananda nivartehe. From the Lord's genitals originate water, semen, generatives, rain, and the procreators. His genitals are the cause of pleasure that counteracts the distress of begetting. This is also explained here. The genitals and the pleasure of begetting counteract and distresses of the family encumbrances. One would cease to generate altogether if there were not, by the grace of the Lord, a coating of pleasure-giving substance on the surface of generative organs. Prabhupada is saying one would cease to generate altogether. This substance gives a pleasure so intense that it counteracts fully the distress of family encumbrances. A person is so captivated by this pleasure-giving substance that he is not satisfied by begetting a single child, but increases the number of children, with great risk in regard to maintaining them, simply for this pleasure-giving substance. So this is the plan of Brahmaji. Otherwise, progeny and population cannot persist. Prabhupada is saying here, this so-called sex pleasure that the Jiva enjoys. So he takes that big risk. What is the risk? Of maintaining what he produces. This pleasure-giving substance is not false, however, because it originates from the transcendental body of the Lord. In other words, the pleasure-giving substance is a reality, but it has taken on an aspect of pervertedness on account of material contamination. In the material world, sex life is the cause of many distress on account of material contact. What is the verse? Very famous verse. Pleasure-giving substance, cause of many distress on account of material contact. What is the verse from Bhagavad Gita? Which verse Krishna speaks about this cause of distress? From this sense-giving pleasure. No one knows. Pranav, we don't know this verse.
No, Prabhuji.
Then you have not studied Bhagavad Gita. Now what about others? Okay, Dayashil, you recite.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी ये संसार जा रोगन दुख योने एवते आदि अंतवंत तो कंते नातेश रमते बुधा.
You have not heard this verse, huh? But the problem is we don't accept it, so we forget. Have you not heard this word, Pranav?
Yeah, Prabhuji, but not memorized actually.
Why? Because you don't accept what is there to memorize, which is a fact. What is there to forget? Only unless we are blinded by lust, we cannot forget. So this is the phenomenon that whoever attempts to find pleasure through sex, ultimately he will receive miseries. ये ही संस्पर्श जब होगा दुख योने ही है. What will be the resultant outcome? He will be cast into perpetual distress and suffering. Therefore, sex life in the material world should not be encouraged beyond the necessity. Necessity means only producing offspring. There is necessity for generating progeny, even in the material world. But such generation of children must be carried out with full responsibility for spiritual values. The spiritual values of life can be realized in the human form of material existence. And the human being must adopt family planning with reference to the context of spiritual values and not otherwise. The degraded form of family restriction by the use of contraceptive, Prabhupada is exposing the current scenario. The degraded form of family restrictions by the use of contraceptives, etc., is the grossest type of material contamination. Materialists who use these devices want to fully utilize the pleasure potency of the coating on the genitals by artificial means, without knowing the spiritual importance of the human form of life. In other words, without knowledge of spiritual values, the less intelligent man tries to utilize only the material self-pleasure of the genitals. So all of it, as Prabhupada quoted, Yad Yad Vibhuti Maksatvam, the source of it, the root of it, the origin of it, the foundation of it. As we read in the last chapter, Krishna is the cause of all causes. Vayu Yamasya Mitrasya Parimokshasya Narada Himsaya Niritrer Nirayasya Budam Smrita. O Narad, the evacuating outlet of the universal form of the Lord is the abode of the controlling deity of death. Mitra and the evacuating hole and the rectum of the Lord is the place of envy, misfortune, death, hell, etc. Very extraordinary description. Difficult, requires a lot of faith to accept. Prabhuter Tamasaschapi Pishachima Pashtima Nadyo Nada Nadinam Cha Gotra Namasti Samhiti Samhati. The back of the Lord is the place for all kinds of frustrations and ignorance, as well as for immortality. From his veins flow the great rivers and rivulets, and on his bones are stacked the great mountains. Further descriptions are being given. On his bones are the mountains. In order to defy the impersonal conception of Supreme Personality of Godhead, a systematic analysis of the physiological and anatomical constitution of his transcendental body is given here. It is clear from the available description of the body of the Lord, his universal form, that the form of the Lord is distinct from the form of ordinary mundane conception. In any case, he is never a formless void. Ignorance is the back of the Lord, and therefore the ignorance of less intelligent class of man is also not separate from his bodily conception. Since his body is the complete whole of everything that be, one cannot assert that he is impersonal only. On the contrary, the perfect description of the Lord holds that he is both impersonal and personal simultaneously. The personality of Godhead is the original feature of the Lord, and his impersonal emanation is but the reflection of his transcendental body. Those who are fortunate enough to have a view of the Lord from the front can realize his personal features, whereas those who are frustrated and are thus kept on the ignorant side of the Lord, or in other words, those who have the view of the Lord from the back realize him in his impersonal feature. Prabhupada is giving both here. Those who are devotees, those who are fortunate, view the Lord from the front. And they can realize the personal feature. But those who are not so fortunate, rather they are frustrated, Prabhupada is writing here. They see from the back side or from the side of the ignorance and realize him as impersonal feature. Avyakta rasa sindhuna bhutanam nidhanasya cha udaram veditam pumso vidayam manasapadam. The impersonal feature of the Lord is the abode of the great oceans, and his belly is the resting place for the materially annihilated living entities. His heart is the abode of the subtle material bodies of the living beings. Thus it is known by the intelligent class of men. Both the details are known. In Bhagavad Gita 8:17-18, it is said that according to human calculations, one day of Brahma is equal to 1,000 cycles of 4 million. What is the verse? 8:17 or 18? Anyone remembers? What is the verse? Already the translation is given by Prabhupada in the purport. It becomes very easy. That which verse is this? And we are spiritual scientists on the 9th chapter. Just few days back we studied the 8th chapter. Sahas Yoga Pariyanto. That the day of Brahma is 1,000 cycles of human. Here Prabhupada is mentioning. It is stated that according to human calculation, one day of Brahma is equal to 1,000 cycles of 4 millennia. $43 lakhs 20,000 years. And the same period is also calculated to his night. A Brahma lives for 100 such years and then dies. A Brahma, who is generally a great devotee of the Lord, attains liberation after such a downfall. The universe called the Brahmanda or the round football-like domain controlled by a Brahma is thus annihilated, and thus the inhabitants of the particular planet or of the whole universe are also annihilated. See, it is mentioned clearly that the universe called the Brahmanda or the round football-like domain controlled by a Brahma is thus annihilated. And thus the particular inhabitants of a particular planet or of the whole universe are also annihilated. Avyakta mentioned here in this verse means the night of Brahma. When partial annihilation takes place and the living entities of that particular Brahmanda up to the planet of Brahmaloka, along with the oceans, etc., all repose in the belly of the Virat Purusha. At the end of Brahma's night, the creation again takes place, and the living entities reserved within the belly of the Lord are let loose to play their respective parts as they being awakened from a deep slumber. Since the living entities are never destroyed, the annihilation of the material world does not annihilate the existence of the living entities. But until liberation is attained, one has to accept one material body after another, again and again. The human life is meant for making a solution to this repeated change of bodies and thereby attaining a place in the spiritual sky where everything is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. In other words, the subtle forms of the living entities rest within the heart of the Supreme Being, and such forms take tangible shape at the time of creation. धर्मस्य मम तुभ्यं च कुमाराणां भवस्य च विज्ञानस्य च सत्वस्य परास्यात्मा परायणा. After the constitution of the great personality is the abode of religious principles. Mine, yours, Lord Shiva, and those of the four bachelors. So who is speaking to whom? Mine, yours, Lord Shiva, and those the four bachelors. Swambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara. 4% there. Mine is Brahma. Brahma is speaking to whom? Swambhu, Narada. And it's talking about, it is also being spoken to Lord Shiva and the four Kumaras. That consciousness is also the abode of truth and the transcendental knowledge. Okay. Then there is this very big verse, 14 to 16. Let me cover this verse also. Am bhavan bhavaschaiva kaime muniyo agraja surasura naranaga khagamriga sarispaha gandharvo apsaraso yakshaha rakshabhuta ganoraga Pashava Pitra Siddha Vidyadharascharanadruma Annecha Vividativa Jalasthala Nabhakshasa Graharkasa Yeshavastaru Sarvam Purusha Evata Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavaschaya Tenedam Avritam Vishwam Vedasitam Adhirtishtati. Beginning from me, Brahma is again speaking, Brahma, down to you and Bhava, Shiva, all the great sages who were born before you, the demigod, the demons, the nagas, the human beings, the bird, the beast, the reptiles, etc., as well as all phenomenal manifestations of the universes, namely the planets, star, asteroids, luminaries, lighting and thunder, along with the inhabitants of the different planetary systems, namely the Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, Rakshas, Bhutaganas, Urugas, Pashus, Pitas, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and all other different varieties of living entities, including the birds, beasts, trees, and everything that we are all covered by the universal form of the Lord at all times. Namely past, present, and future. Although he is transcendental to all of them, eternally existing in the form, not exceeding 9 inches. More further details are going on. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his partial representation as a super soul, measuring not more than 9 inches, expand by his potent energy in the shape of universal form. So we're discussing the universal form. So from where the universal form is manifesting, Prabhupada is giving the source. From super soul, Shirodakshai Vishnu, which includes everything manifested in different varieties of organic and inorganic materials. The manifested varieties of the universes are therefore not different from the Lord. Just as golden ornaments of different shapes and forms are not different from the original stock, reserve of gold. In other words, the Lord is the Supreme Person who controls everything within the creation, and still he remains the supreme separate identity, distinct from all material manifested material creation. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.45, he is therefore said to be Yogeshwara. That everything is resting on him. Everything rests on the potency of the Lord Shri Krishna, and still the Lord is different from and transcendental to all such identities. In the Vedic Purushukta of the Rig Mantra, this is confirmed. This philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is known as Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva. Brahman, Narada, and all others are simultaneously one with the Supreme Lord and different from him. What is the oneness? How there is inconceivable oneness and difference. What is the oneness? Prabhupada is quoting here. Again, I am reading. See very attentively. The philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and is known as Achinta Bheda Bhed. Narada and all others are simultaneously one with the Supreme Lord and different from it. Right. What is the oneness? Of course, we are one with him in quality, but the difference is quantity. But what is this oneness? Why others are not answering? Only Dayashil Prabhu is answering. Yes, Dayashil Prabhu, what is the oneness? So many times I have explained.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ramya.
Prabhuji, we all are one in qualitatively, one in Sachid Anand.
That I've already said, that there is oneness in quality. What actually is that quality? There is oneness. How can a jiva qualify to be in oneness with the Supreme Lord? And what makes him different or distinct or rebellious? What is that oneness? So many places Prabhupada quotes that in his purports. बोलो नहीं पता. That means we are not in oneness. We are having our own separate existence. This existence, this material existence or human existence that we have is not for fulfilling the mission of the Lord. Actually, your hand is up. What is the answer? You did not reply. Huh? You brought your hand down. Answer the question.
Desire, or mission of the Supreme Lord.
Yes. Or interest. His interest is as the same interest of the Supreme Lord. Or mission and desire. We are one with him in quality, just as the gold ornaments are one in quality with the stock gold. But the individual gold ornament is never equal in quantity with the stock gold. The stock gold is never exhausted, even if there are innumerable ornaments emanating from the stock, because the stock is Purnam, complete. Even if Purnam is deducted from the Purnam, still the Supreme Purnam remains the same Purnam. This fact is inconceivable to our present imperfect senses. Lord Chaitanya therefore defined his theory of philosophy as achintya, inconceivable. And it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in the Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya's theory of achintya Veda Veda is the perfect philosophy of the absolute truth. Hare Krishna, I'll stop here. Any contributions, questions? Manoram Prabhu, when you can present the 5th chapter?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, next Monday or Tuesday, if it is, you can.
Coming or next? Coming Monday, no?
Yeah, coming.
Okay. You present on Monday?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Madan Sarup Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Hare Krishna.
See, in text 10, it talks about simultaneous impersonal and personal feature. And impersonal feature is compared to the back of the God. So,
The universal form, not God. Universal form, the Virat Rupa. This is all description of the Virat Rupa.
this way.
which is the material manifestation for those who are in this material universe. It does not exist in the spiritual world. This is the only manifestation in the material world.
Okay. So how that impersonal is compared to the back? This I did not understand.
Those who are the back means those who are not devotees, those who are not favorable, those who have their back. That means-
Ignorance. I mean, we can't see our back, so it's kind of ignorance.
No, but that is the back of the Virat Rupa now, not our back. See, read it. It is the back of the Virat Rupa.
Yes, yes, Swami.
Yeah. So those who do not see the face of the Supreme Lord, those who see the back and they see the face.
Yeah,
Okay.
they can't.
And what Prabhupada is writing, these people are unfortunate. Those who are distressed. If I remember, that is what Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. Those who are fortunate, they see the face, the front. And those who are unfortunate, they distressed, frustrated. Prabhupada is writing the word frustrated. See? What is mentioned? For those who do not believe in the Lord, they see the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And second was, Prabhuji, during Brahma's night, so
Yeah.
all living beings go into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, right?
Because Brahma comes from where?
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
And at the end of Brahma's life, when the entire creation is annihilated,
Then to Vishnu's body.
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu's body.
Yeah. Because he is the first Purusha from where the creation begins. Prabhupada writes in many of his purports.
One more query, Prabhuji, can I
Yeah.
ask?
Yeah, sure.
The size of Paramatma is up to 9 inches, means it varies in each living being size wise, or how does that 9 inches comes?
Very difficult to answer that. Very difficult.
Because Paramatma also lives in the heart of the
If you
individual.
say, and the Paramatma is there in the heart of the Ishvara Sarvbhutanam Hide Deshe Arjuna Tishtati. Of this 9 inches will vary. There are many living beings who are not at all 9 inches. So how the Paramatma will live in their heart as with 9 inches? If you see an ant with hardly an inch, there's so many millions of living entities.
So there is a difference between the size of Atma and Paramatma, because Atma's size is one
Yeah.
upon 1,000 of it.
Yeah. 1 to the 10,000 part of the tip of the head.
Yeah.
Paramatma is mentioned here. In many parts of Bhagavatam, it is mentioned in the upper part of the thumb. Angushta.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very
Thank you.
difficult, very difficult to answer. I will not speculate. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Ramya, बोलिए.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Hare
प्रभु जी अचिंत्य भेदाभेद तत्व के बारे में पूछिए।
Sorry, दोबारा बोलिए. बोलो बोलो, नहीं सुन पाया मैं. दोबारा बोलिए.
नहीं प्रभु जी थोड़ा क्लैरिफिकेशन चाहिए अचिंत्य भेदाभेद तत्व मुझे।
Achintya Bheda Tattva say, Achintya means it is inconceivable. And Bhed means the difference. And Abhed means the oneness. So what is Bheda Bheda? If you see the four philosophies, if you see the philosophical conclusions, so the impersonalists say that there is no difference, there is oneness. What is the oneness? That the Supreme is also spirit and we are also spirit. He is also eternal and we are also eternal. Yeah. And when one becomes liberated, so the Jiva, which is eternal, it becomes the supreme eternal. That can never happen. And Bheda means that there is difference. That the supreme is the shelter and the Jiva is one who is sheltered. Mahaprabhu reconciles both. He says there is both. There is oneness and also there is difference. So that is the completeness. It is called, but it is achintya. Ordinarily, it cannot be understood. It is achintya bheda veda tattva. Simultaneous oneness and difference. Very simple. Like you and your daughter. There is oneness, but there is difference. Isn't it? Both are not same. As simple as that. But it can only be understood by those who are devotees of the Lord, and by the intelligence, the spiritual intelligence bestowed by the Lord, one can understand the Bheda Ved Tattva.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you for asking and putting some life where there is some participation. Otherwise, our mind and heart is completely off when we read these sections, such sections of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, I'll stop here. And Krishna willing, will continue tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.